In this unit, we will be looking at converting between US and metric units, first using inches and centimeters, miles and kilometers, and then we will move on to converting temperatures between Fahrenheit and Celsius. Let's start here. There is no nice, neat conversions, and you will be provided with approximate conversions here, and for these conversions you will need to use conversion fractions. So when I need to convert between 3 inches and centimeters, I want to write my 3 inches over 1. And then I want to multiply by some conversion fraction that's going to have inches in the denominators so that those inches will cancel each other out, and introduce centimeters in the numerator. Since we know that 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, we can fill in this conversion fraction and know that this fraction is equal to 1. Now all I need to do is multiply 2.54 times 3. This will give us 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1. 15 plus 1 is 16, carry the 1. Since there's 2 digits to the right of the decimal, we will have 7.62 centimeters. Now let's do the same type of conversion, but now let's deal with miles and kilometers. Let's pretend that you like to run 10K runs. And so you want to know, how many miles is that? 10 kilometers is approximately equal to, notice my squiggly equal sign, how many miles? Well, again, I'm going to use these conversion fractions. Begin with 10 kilometers, put it over 1, and multiply by some conversion fraction that puts kilometers down in the denominator and miles in the numerator, so that these kilometers will cancel each other out. I'm going to have 1 mile is the same as 1.61 kilometers. Now this one, I've got to do a little bit of division here, unfortunately, and hopefully our directions will tell us how far to round our answer. So I'm going to begin with 10 divided by 1.61. But we're not allowed to divide by a decimal, and so I need to move the decimal 2 places to the right here to make this 161, and I'm going to need to move the decimal 2 places to the right here to make that 1,000 and put the decimal to the right of the 1,000. Now I can do some estimation. I know 6 times 16 is 96, so I'm going to guess that this is going to be a 6, and that we're going to have 966 there. Subtract and get 34. I might have to do some borrowing and bring down a 0. 1.6 or 161 goes into 342 times, making 332, which is pretty darn close here. And I'm just going to round to the nearest tenth here. We're going to say that 10 kilometers is right around 6.2 miles. So there's no way around it. You're going to have to be given a conversion to work with, and you're going to have to use these conversion fractions as a way to do this, unless you've got the conversion memorized already. You might be a runner and already know that 10K is the same as a 6.2 mile run. Now let's deal with temperature conversion. We're dealing with Fahrenheit and Celsius, and we have these 2 formulas here to convert back and forth between the two. But I'd like to make sure you understand a little bit about these 2 number systems. So I'm going to draw a thermometer here, not a super great one, and let's just put our mercury rising that high. When we're dealing with Celsius, Celsius is going to range from 0 degrees Celsius when we're used to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. That is where water freezes to ice. Now if we look at the boiling point, in Celsius it's 100 degrees Celsius for the boiling point, and that is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you can work with different values in between these, but it's very much a good idea to have this understanding of what these units are. So let's pretend you're traveling in Europe and you're in Paris and you find out that that day is going to be 40 degrees outside, and you want to know, should I be wearing my swimsuit and be dressed for summer, or should I have my parka? Well, I think we'll know what the answer is pretty easily, but we're going from Celsius to Fahrenheit. We want to find Fahrenheit, and our formula says Fahrenheit is going to be 9/5 Celsius plus 32. Well, we're given 40 degrees Celsius, so I'm going to substitute that 40 in there, and very fortunate for us, we're able to cancel 5 and 40 and find out that we're going to have 9 times 8, which is 72, plus 32, which is 104 degrees. So it is very hot outside when it's 40 degrees Celsius. Now, let's pretend that someone from Europe is visiting the United States and they see that it's going to be 40 degrees Fahrenheit out, and they want to know what is that in terms of Celsius degrees. So we're trying to find Celsius, so we will use this second formula here. Celsius is 5/9 times the quantity Fahrenheit minus 32. Well, we are given that the Fahrenheit value is going to be 40. And inside this parentheses we can subtract, and we can have 5/9 times 8. Well, that's an 8 over 1, and we can see that multiplying across we're going to have 40 divided by 9. Well, that doesn't help very much. We probably want to convert this into a decimal. So let's take this 40, divide by 9. Notice it goes in 4 times, making 36. Subtracting, we get 4 there. Let's put a decimal and bring down again, and we're going to see, oh, we're still going to have 4s there. So we're going to have repeating 4s, and the answer is that 40 degrees Fahrenheit is basically right around 4.5 degrees Celsius. So these two systems of measure are very different from each other in terms of 40 degrees, what does it mean? And these are the formulas we're going to use to convert back and forth. Now, some people don't like dealing with the fractions, and so instead of using these values, instead of 9/5, they use 1.8, and instead of 5/9, they use 0-point repeating 5s. But it's very difficult to do your math with the repeating 5s, and so personally, I just like to stick with the fraction approach when converting these values.